All right, APUS government students, here I am, and here we go. So this is some help for your free response. What I will tell you is that part of your free response that you can study is going to tie to checks and balances. So make sure you review checks and balances. And then the second part of the free response that you're going to want to look at with your squad is going to be the amendments. All right, so take a look at the amendments. And when I say the amendments, don't take a look at the specific amendments. I mean, take a look at the amendment process. Take a look at the amendment process, all right? The part where we talked about 2/3 of Congress, 3/4 of states. The part at the end of your notes where we talked about how amendments are not subject to judicial review, whereas laws are. That's what I want you to look at. And going back to the checks and balances, look at some specific checks and balances. So if I said legislative branch on the executive branch, you could talk to me about how the Senate has to confirm choices by the president. You could also then talk to me about the judicial branch's check being judicial review. You could talk to me about how the executive checks the legislature with things like veto. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. Now, take a look at this. This is going to be your third question. So I want you to see it. I want you to recognize that you and your squad are going to have to write an essay. And so, Mr. PY, what's going on here? Well, this is the format that AP uses on their test. So we need to practice it. All right. So I got to show you how to do it, what's involved in it, and I'm going to show you an example of how we're going to tie this to exam one. And I'm giving you a lot of helpful hints. The format. So you can see you're going to write a thesis. You guys know how to do that. Paragraph 2, you're going to provide your support. Paragraph 3. So look at paragraph 3. You're going to refute one of the other sides by saying why they're wrong. This is something AP wants you to do. It shows them that you know the other perspectives and why they're wrong. So that's paragraph 3. And then paragraph 4 is going to be a summation. So it's not your classic 5-paragraph essay. I'm having you write 4, but I think that you can do it. The gist of what you're doing is that you're choosing Brutus 1 or the Federalist 10 or the original Constitution without the amendments. And then you're going to tie to that, you're going to argue how that is elitist, participatory, or pluralist. So let's say, for example, you choose the original Constitution. You could argue, for example, about it being elitist. Maybe you want to point to things like, well, in the original Constitution, only the people were allowed to directly elect their representatives in the House. The founders didn't trust them to directly elect our president, thus the Electoral College. And you can say they didn't trust them to directly elect their senators because they were appointed by the states. So I think those are examples that you could utilize. All right. You could tie Brutus 1 to participatory. I think certainly you could tie the Federalist 10 to pluralist democracy. So those are all things that you could tie to these models of democracy. So I gave you some support with my original Constitution and elite democracy. Now in paragraph 3, I got to refute one of the others. Right? So in that sense, what I could say is, well, the original Constitution doesn't seem to support pluralist democracy. It doesn't talk about parties. It doesn't talk about groups. Right? It doesn't mention groups, right? It seems to, in this argument, support elite democracy. All right. Participatory, you could point to, well, it doesn't seemingly point to participatory and individuals being involved at various stages of government. It just has them participating in their House elections. Yes, they're going to vote for some of these other things, but there's going to be people that are going to be insulated from them. They're going to actually make the final decisions, like the Electoral College, for example. All right, so that's giving you some feedback there. Then I'm going to go back in my summation. I'm going to talk about what the original Constitution does, how it ties to elite democracy, and then I'm going to finish that up. To help you out, you can see that I'm going to give you this sheet down here as well. So you're going to get these two sheets. Question 1, question 2, tied checks and balances, and how we amend our Constitution and what's special about it. And then this one essay that will then have these sheets here to help you. All right, and I'm basically giving you this third question. Stop in and see me Monday morning or whatever day this test is. This year it's going to be Monday morning, but another year, if I keep this video, it could be a different day. Stop in and see me and ask me questions. All right, let me help you prepare what it is that you're going to write and what you're going to do for this first free response. Good luck.